Well, hello there, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're safe and well. In this video, I'm going to be showing you my Walther LGV break barrel spring rifle. So, let's roll those titles. Here then we have my Walther LGV Master break barrel spring rifle in 177 caliber. Let's talk a little bit about the LGV first before we go into the features. Let me check my notes now. As I understand it, this was released by Walther in around 2013, and it was released in a number of different models. And there was this one, the Master, which was beach stock with open sights, and then they had the Master Ultra, which had a barrel weight on it, and then they had the Competition Ultra, which had the barrel weight but also had an adjustable stock. And there were two other versions which were synthetic stocks, and they were called the Challenger versions. So there was the Challenger Master and the Challenger Ultra. So there were 5 models in all. And this was released as a modern tribute to the legendary LGV target rifles of the 60s and early 70s. And it was developed, the idea was that they wanted to develop a modern break barrel without the disadvantages of a traditional break barrel. And they were disadvantages such as the twanging spring in the rifle, recoil on the older spring guns that tend to wreck a scope, the barrel not returning to the same position every time you cocked it. Obviously quite important to get accuracy, that you want the barrel returning in exactly the same position each time, so you get your pellet accuracy. And finally, they wanted a decent trigger that wasn't overly heavy, which was the case on a lot of the older traditional spring rifles. So that was what it was all about. Trying to think, either last year or the year before, they actually took these out of production, so these are not available to buy new anymore. They're on this both the LGV and the LGU, which is also a spring rifle, but it's an underlever spring rifle. They're only available second hand now, and I've been on the lookout for one of these for a while. My reasoning being, I became aware of these actually when Walther announced that they were taking them away from sale. I did get to briefly shoot an LGU. I went to an indoor range in Northampton and I had a second-hand one on the rack, which was a 2.2. I actually got to shoot it without a scope and without any sights on it, but it was only an indoor range, just to see what it was like. So as you can imagine, it wasn't the most accurate trying to shoot a 2.2 rifle without any sights on it. And then this one came up on Gun Trader for a good price, which we'll talk about later on. So I went and had a look at it and bought it. So let's have a look at the features then. Starting at the business end of the rifle, then we've got I haven't got the cap, the blanking cap, but it's fitted with a 1/2-inch UNF thread for a moderator, and this one came with a moderator, didn't have the thread attachment, so I've actually always used it with a moderator, make it a bit more garden friendly. On the top of the barrel, say, as I mentioned, this originally came with open sights, and it's quite interesting. There's actually a dovetail on the top of the barrel here for attaching the front globe sight, which was one of those like tubular sights, and you could interchange the inserts in it. They were black post type inserts, I'll show you a picture on the screen of what that sight looked like. But obviously that's been removed from this rifle. Didn't come with the foresight. Ignore this little bit here. This is a barrel attachment for a sling, because I think this was and it's got a sling stud fitted in the up the butt end as well. So I think whoever owned this before was using it for hunting. And so yeah, I mentioned that they wanted to come up with a spring rifle or a break barrel rifle where the barrel returns to the same position each time. So what they did is they developed this locking system. So you can see here, if I hold this up a bit more, there's a locking lever. So in order to cock the barrel, you first have to lift that lever up, and then you can crack the barrel, and then you can obviously then cock it and stick your pellet in. And now what that does is then when you close the barrel again, it locks, and that ensures that when it locks that the barrel is always in exactly the same position, which adds to the accuracy. It's a nice little feature. Moving down, then you've got the flat plate at the top with the 2 screw holes, which was where the rear sight, the iron sight, would have been. I'll stick a picture of online of what that looks like, and I've got a photo actually of the rifle as it would have come out the box with the iron sights and with the complete iron sights on, which I'll show you so you can see what it looks like. So that's the fore end then. Moving down the stock, if you look at, you can see the slot in the bottom end where the lever system, and what they've done is inside the stock. I won't take this off because to take the stock off I've got to take the trigger off and then the trigger guard in order to take it. But inside the stock there are 2 pads of like nylon plastic. And what they've done is the cocking lever actually runs on those nylon pads. And the idea of that is to reduce the friction and reduce the wear inside there and just make the whole mechanism a lot smoother. So it's a bit different to your normal Springer when you take it apart. You wouldn't normally expect to see sort of 2 plastic pads inside. And I think the back one actually rests on some springs as well. Up on top of the rifle, you see got the logo, Walther LGV logo, which is I assume that's like laser etched into the bluing. And then moving to the back of the rifle, you've got the normal 9 to 11, I think it's 9 to 11 mil standard dovetail rail for putting your rings on, and you've got the safety, automatic safety at the top, backwards and forwards, push it forwards to fire, pull it back for safe. I think that this one, I think unlike the wear arc safeties on my other rifles, I think this one's actually resettable. So yeah. Looking down at the trigger, then you'll see that this one came with this is the updated Rowan engineering trigger. I was looking for it earlier, and I'm pretty certain that I read somewhere on one of the forums that you know, some people have issues with the trigger, and they recommend that the best upgrade for the trigger is to add this Rowan mod. So this has already been done on mine, and this trigger's fully adjustable. It can slide forward and back and up and down, and the actual trigger mechanism itself, you see you've got the 2 holes in the trigger guard there, so you've got the adjustment at the back and the front. I don't know which way what they do, but all I know is from what I've read, it's fully adjustable. And then we go back further, there's a little bit of checkering on the pistol grip, and it's engraved with the company logo on both sides. And then we go back to the rear. Hasn't really got much of a comb, like of a cheek piece built into the stock, but you do have an adjustable butt pad that just slides up and down on the back. So that's all the main bits and pieces. What are the specs then? Well, the length without a moderator is 109.5 centimeters, which is 43 inches. The barrel, which is obviously this length, is 40 centimeters, which is 15 3/4 inches. And I put it on my bathroom scales with this scope on, which is pretty standard 44mm scope. They all tend to weigh the same. This is the Optizan EVX, and it came in at 5.1 kilograms, which is 11.2 pounds. So what sort of power is it doing, you may ask? Well, put it over the chrono, and with 8.44 grain JSBs. As I mentioned before, this is a 177 rifle, and you'll see the results up the screen. The 10-shot string, we got an average of 776.1 feet per second, which equates to 11.29 foot-pounds, which is around the 11 foot-pound mark. Quite a nice power level for a Springer. In my experience, Springers don't tend to like high power. I don't know why, but they tend to prefer to be around the 11, between 10 and 11 foot-pounds. All of my Springers seem to shoot perfectly well in those, so power wise it's on the money. A spread of 15.5 feet per second, so that's not bad for a Springer, and a standard deviation of 5.4. So yeah, pretty good results there. Let's have a chat about pros and cons then. Pros, the trigger's quite nice on here. There's no creep, works pretty well. I haven't made any adjustments since I bought it. Seems to be set fine. Nice and crisp. You know when it's gonna go. Say quite a short first stage, and no creep on the second stage. Let's go quite predictably. There is a bit of recoil on this. I mean, it's interesting that they were saying that they wanted to develop a rifle without the scope killing recoil, but you do get a fair bit of recoil for this. But it seems to be straight back in your shoulder, like you would expect from any other rifle, really. So not really an issue. It doesn't sort of like kick up. You don't feel like that there's any barrel flip. It is quite a heavy rifle, and it's very front heavy as well. If I try and, yeah, see, look, I mean, where I've got my hand there, you can see by that front ring is near enough the balance point, so it's quite front heavy, so that helps stop the barrel flip a bit. What else can I say about it? It's fairly easy to cock. The release lever works well. It's easy to load. The safety works well as well. Although it's typical with a Springer, it's an automatically setting safety. So you do have to remember when you're target shooting before you get into your routine. Take that safety off once you're pointing down range. Otherwise, you'll go, and as soon as you put your finger on the trigger, you can feel straight away that the safety's on. So that's that's just Springer shooting. What else can I say about it? It's good. It is. I suppose you could say another pro is I found it in practice when I've competed in competition with it that it's a very reliable and very accurate rifle. I have been shooting this in HFT comps because my 97 is still out of action. I'll be doing another video on the 97 because I'm still not happy with the way that the spring's settling in and stuff. But we'll talk about that another time. But so have been shooting with this. Cons, right? What don't I like about it? Well, the main thing that I don't like about it is the stock. I really don't like this stock. I wish you could get a replacement stock, but the problem is because it's got these plastic inset pads, it's a little bit more difficult, I guess, for people to mark it aftermarket stock. So unless you're watching this and you know where I can get a better stock for it, which please get in touch, send me an email or put it in the comments. I'd love to know. But as things stand with this stock, yeah, I don't like it at all. The reason being is the pistol grip. I find the pistol grip too thick for my hands. Perhaps my hands are too small for it. I can get my finger on the trigger okay, but when I try and wrap, if I bring this round, I don't think I can demonstrate it here, but it just feels too thick around this area here. When I put my finger on the trigger, your fingertips are only just getting back to the checkering, or mine are anyway. So it just doesn't feel good in my right hand. Also, there's no sort of distinction. With this beach here, it's quite smooth. There's no distinction. It's quite a thick rolled top to the cheek piece. So when you try and get it into your cheek, it just doesn't feel right. I mean, what I've been doing actually is switch that round. What I've been doing is putting this elbow pad on the top to give me the extra. I mean, I haven't got it. You can see here, look, the scope's not really high off the rifle. These are sort of medium mounts. I don't know if I'd be able to get away with low mounts, but I doubt whether that will make much difference from the stock. And I just find that for me, this isn't high enough on the stock. So this extra little bit of padding on there, not only is this rougher and it feels more comfortable, but it gives me the extra little bit of height so that I can get the eye alignment on my scope. So not a big fan of the stock, but I mean, despite that, I've made it work. Needs must, and that when I've been shooting with it on the HFT course, my results really sort of speak for themselves. So yeah. The other thing as well that's a bit of a con is I guess, I mean, I could shoot it without the moderator, but I know from just trying with the odd shot, the 0 point changes like you'd expect from most rifles. Once you take the moderator off, if you set up the 0 with the moderator, you take the moderator off, then you've got to re-zero everything. And because I'm shooting it a lot in the garden, it's just, without the mod, it's just too noisy. I'll be annoying the neighbours. So when I put the moderator on, if I screw that on the end, I can get it to screw in. You can see how long this rifle becomes. It's just such a long rifle. Look, it's silly. I think I mentioned on another video where I talked about this rifle that when I started shooting this in competitions, somebody at the club was laughing, saying I was cheating because my barrel was so long I could reach forward and knock the targets over on the close targets without having to shoot pellets at them. And it only just about fits in my gun bag, my new Altec gun bag, with the moderator on. With a normal gun slip, you have to unscrew that. So I store it in a normal gun slip in the house without the moderator on, because otherwise it wouldn't fit in the bag. So that's another con. So but apart from that, it is a nice rifle to shoot. It is very accurate. It's not particularly hold sensitive. Compared to my 97, you can really clamp your hands on this one, and because the recoil is straight back, you're not going to affect the accuracy if you hold it, or you tend not to affect the accuracy if you hold it too tight. So that being said, then let's get this out on the garden range and do some shooting. Right, we're out on the range then. We're going to do this one a bit differently. I haven't had the chance since I've had this rifle to do any sort of proper pellet testing. So rather than just putting, you know, like a few pellets down the range just to show you what sort of groupings it does, I thought I'd test a few pellets. I'm guessing that it's not going to be too pellet fussy, but we'll see. So they're all 8.44 grain pellets, all 4.52 head size, and I'm going to start with what I usually shoot through this rifle, which is air arms fields. So set a target up. I'm going to do 2 lots of 5 pellet groups for each pellet. Just not a proper pellet test, but just to have a look and see how it does. Now you notice I'm shooting a Springer off the bench. Not something I normally prefer to do, but got a bit of a neck strain at the moment, and I've noticed that when I shoot prone off the peg, it just makes it worse. So for the sake of a bit of comfort, we're going to shoot off the bench. So we're starting with AA fields then. Let's have a look. See. So we're going to start second row down from the left, and I'll start sort of first target in and see how we go. That one went a bit awry. Perhaps I just need to warm up a bit. One more. Last one in this group. Right, I'm going to carry on and shoot another group of 5. I won't film it, we'll just do the first 5 of each of the pellets, and I'll come back to you. So that's 2 groups, 2 5-shot groups of the AA fields. Now we're going to be shooting the FTXX, again, say 8.44 grain, 4.52 head size. Same procedure as before. I think that first group, perhaps I was just the second group I shot with the fields was a bit better than the first group. Perhaps I just needed to warm up a bit rather than come out and start shooting cold without any practice. Anyway, let's try these, see what happens with these. Ooh, that one dropped really low. I don't know what that was about. Could have been a significantly lighter pellet at the tin for something, I don't know, but that was a bit dodgy. Yeah, that one's a bit of a flyer as well. Well, perhaps I don't like these. One more in this group. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to carry on and do the second group. Right, onto the old JSB, my old favourites, JSB exacts. I'm going to have to skip a line. A couple of shots have dropped low, so we'll skip a line on the target. A bit surprised actually, this rifle usually shoots better than this. Obviously I'll take full responsibility. Obviously me not shooting it well this morning. Might just be the table, I don't know. It usually shoots better than this. A bit surprised, but there we go. See how we get on with the JSBs. It's funny, all these pellets are supposed to be the same weight and head size, but you notice these JSBs just feel a little bit tighter in the barrel, in the breech when you put them in. Right, that's the first 5. Right, that's JSB's out of the way then. Oh dear, this must be the worst shooting sequence I've recorded since I started doing videos. I don't know what's going on today, must just be having an off day. Anyway, we're going to finish off and try these Barracuda 8s. And, you never know, I might be able to shoot a decent group with them. really isn't doing this rifle justice, trust me. Oh, they're very tight in the barrel, a little bit tighter than the JSBs. Right, we're going to shoot the bottom row. Oh yeah, yeah, they are tight. I mean, it's a, oh dear, this elevation seems okay on these. I mean, not exactly zeroed, but all seems there or thereabouts. But it's just been drifting a bit to the left or right. Bit of a breeze, but I wouldn't have expected it to have that much effect on the pellets. Oh, the joys of shooting outdoors, eh? Oh well. That's a better group than the others. Seems to like these. Anyway, I'm going to carry on doing the second group and I'll come back to you after. Switch this off. Oh dear. Right. Not giving a good account of this rifle on the bench, so I'm going to forego the pain in my neck and just do a couple of groups for prone, just to see if that makes any difference. The things we do for art, eh? My card's full on the video camera down by the target, so I'm not going to sit and wait for that to download before I shoot this. I've just put a couple of spots up on a bit of card, and we're going to see if it makes any difference shooting it prone. I'm going to shoot with the AAs, and I'm going to try those H&N8s as well again, because they look quite good. So here we go. That's a bit more like it. That's 3 shots. Should I do another group of 5? Yeah. wild shot. Right, what I'm going to do, because we haven't got a camera down there to prove I'm not cheating, is we're going to lift this up. We're going to go walking down and have a look, just quickly show the target. Right, I'm going to spin the camera around by hitting the reversing button. Where is it? Right, there we go. Look, you can see those, and we'll have a closer look when we get inside. So, definitely looks like it was the bench. Okay. Right, here's our target then from shooting outside, and we've got the two groups from the air arms fields, two groups from the FT exacts, two groups from the JSBs, and finally at the bottom here the two groups from the H&N Barracuda 8s. So let's have a look at some sizes then. Let's have a look at the circles. Right, so the inner circle of those targets is 15 mil, and the outer circle looks like 25 mil. So not great, I'm afraid. Looking at there, we've got a 15 mil group with the air arm fields. That's probably the best one there. Yeah, I don't know what happened on this this first one here. If you ignore that flyer, then there's two 15 mil groups. That was going well there. They're in 10 mil, those three. Then we got on to the FTs. Bit disappointed about how they worked out, because you know we've got this flyer here which I can't account for, and then these two flyers. You know, we got a bit of a nice group there. 4 pellets there in 15 mil and 3 there in 15, probably even in 10 there. So not great, my shooting. Then we come down to the JSBs, and again 2 flyers there, little nice group of 3 there, group of 4 there, and 1 off. And then the 8s. The 8s look like they were going to actually be the best pellets, looking at that group at the bottom. Yeah, you probably even argue that they're that's 4 of those in a 10 mil. Might even be 5. I lost count a bit, because this might be the 6th, but there was a bit of a flyer there, and then who knows what happened there. So not brilliant, but as I think I mentioned on the video then, I decided let's just give it a try, because I'm not doing this rifle any justice. Let's give it a try shooting it prone and see whether that was the problem. So let's have a look at the 2 groups from shooting prone. Right, so here's the prone target then. What I did is just put the cardboard up with 4 dots on. At the top's the air arms. And again, this is just me shooting. I shot a bit of a flyer there. But if you see there, let's move that down. There's 3 shots there in 10 mil, and then I don't know what I did there with those 2. Just poor shooting. But you can get those 4 in 15. Moving across, this was a better group. 4 shots in 10 mil, but again, just that flyer over there, I just guessed it just wasn't my day today. And then I did quick 5-shot group with the H&N Barracudas there. Say 3 shots 10 there, and the 2 outliers 4 in 15, 4 in 15 there. Yeah, so definitely better shooting prone than shooting on the bench, but just a bit disappointing really that that for some reason I didn't show off the rifle in its best light today and didn't do it justice. But one thing that I will do actually is to show you my scorecard from back in December, I think it was, when I shot this on an HFT course. Which is, say, on the screen now. You can see, look, I shot a 54 with this rifle, which was, my best score of last year. So you can see that, you know, it's got potential. It's probably just me on the day shooting it poorly. But that's the rifle out on the range then. So let's talk money then. What's it going to cost you to get one of these rifles? Well, I've just had a quick search online on Gun Trader, and there were none on there. Had a look on a couple of other second-hand rifle sales sites, none. But I did notice that yesterday on the airgun forums, in the rifle sales sub-forum, a 177 Competition Ultra with a 4-16 by 56 scope on it went for £450. Bearing in mind what I paid for mine, which I'll go into, I thought that was a bit steep. Mine, I forget exactly when I bought it. It's got to be probably about 18 months ago. Must be at least a year ago. I bought it from an RFD, and it came with a scope and with a rifle sling. In actual fact, the scope that I got is one of these, which is a little Vector Veyron Serato scope, and this is a 3-9 by, I think that's 33 or something like that. No, that'll be like a 44 or something. Quite a neat little mil dot scope, that. Ideal, like little tiny hunting scope. Anyway, that's what come on my rifle. And I paid a little under £300. I think it was 298, something like that I paid for mine. So it sounds as like I got a good deal, and could probably sell mine for a little bit more than I paid for it. So there is the rarity aspects. So if you fancy one, keep your eyes peeled, because when they come up, they're going to go quickly. I mean, this one that was on the forum went as soon as it was advertised. So obviously there's people out there looking for them. So yeah, so that's what it's going to cost you. So there we are then. That's my Walther LGV break barrel spring rifle. Yeah, nice rifle, is what it is. Shoots really nicely, so I'll be keeping this for a while. I'm quite interested actually to see, you know, because I can put a sling on it and carry it around. I'm going to give this a go on the bunnies and see how it gets on hunting and see what it's like. But so sorry about the shooting. I mean, can't be great all the time, but it is what it is. As I said, you know, need to be sort of open, and I try and be open and honest about stuff. And if I'm shooting bad, then you see me shooting bad. I'm not going to hide all the naff shooting just for the sake of a video. So I've got another rifle to review. I've been which hopefully will be coming up shortly. I've really been itching to review that, but it's the same old story. You get an idea for a video, and then another YouTuber comes out and does the very thing that you were thinking about doing, and you're scuppered then, because if you go ahead and put your video out, I've got you know, I'm get this feeling that people are going to say that I'm copying other people and stuff, you know. And I'm itching to do a review of this rifle that I've got. It's a cracking rifle, but then somebody else introduced it on their videos just at the time when I was going to do the review, and I thought, you know, so I'm gonna have to leave it a while and let the dust settle on that, so I don't get accused of copying. So watch out for that one. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I've got a really interesting idea when I do that video. What I'm going to do in that video is something that I don't think anybody's ever done before. It's going to be sort of a one-off, unique thing that I can guarantee you won't have seen before. If it comes off, fingers crossed. But anyway, that's all from me for now. I hope you found this interesting. Say, if you get the chance to try one of these, please give it a go. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It is quite a nice rifle. Just a shame about the stock. If you know somebody who's got a decent stock for one of these, please let me know. That would be wonderful. Anyway, that's all for me for now, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.